him last night. In a call that we have every week, I was digging a little bit deeper because I'm always trying to understand, like him, he's a human behavioralist. He's one of the top human behavioralists in the world with understanding people. So I wanted to reverse it a little bit and get a little understanding of him. And why is he driven the way he is? Why is it that he's so wanting to help so many people? And understanding his journey to come to America and the 15 years to get the whole family, the youngest of 13. This is what really impresses me. You see, I'm born in Canada. I'm a Canadian by birth, and there's a lot of Americans by birth, and we can tend to be a little bit on the why do we need to work hard side, or we've already got a good life side. But when you get someone who has to work their way to come to these amazing countries, and then they seize that American dream, it tells me a whole lot. And that's exactly what he's done. Not only has he seized the American dream, but his passion is to help others do the same thing. So I feel blessed that we are great friends. I feel blessed to call him my brother. But Dr. Obom Bowen is absolutely one in a million. I mean, 1 in a million. Actually, he's 1 in 7 billion, because I don't believe there's any other quite like him. And so, Dr. Obom, take it away. Please share with everybody why they might want to be a content provider, why ASCIRA may be the platform, and why they may want to join this crazy family of ours.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, Robert. And thank you so much. You are absolutely such a wonderful soul. And as Robert said, everyone, that, you know, Robert, when we first met, I was a student in one of the courses, you know, teaching professional speakers and trainers, or those who wanted to be a professional speaker or trainer or an entertainer. So I got a lot of my entertainment skills from Robert. So definitely thank you so much, Robert. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few kind words about this gentleman. But I'm so very excited not only to be a friend and business partner, but pretty much to be family with Robert. And today we're going to share a little bit about why it's important to be a content provider with ASCIRA and why it's probably going to benefit you. So as you see on the slide here, it's a little bit about myself. These many folks don't know about me is that my wife and I at one point owned 30 different companies. These are the current 8 that we own. Manifest Wealth Systems is actually the umbrella company for all those other companies that you see there. And a few of those are going to be able to be housed and be branded globally on the ASCIRA platform because of what's happening and what we're going to share with you here today. So when I saw this opportunity recently in the beginning of the year, I could not wait any longer to actually jump and take advantage of the opportunity of ASCIRA itself. So what I want to do before we jump into it is really just share with you a short video. It's only about 2 minutes long. That's going to tell you all about the opportunity. And then I'm going to go into break it down with my other co-host and partner of Mystery Today, none other than Dr. Travis Fox. But I'm excited to introduce him to you. But what I want to do first, let's take 2 minutes and watch this video and see why I'm excited, why Robert's excited, and then we'll kind of move on from here. So it's really exciting. Let me just take a minute and get this going for you. You know, ladies and gentlemen, every time I see that video, I get excited again and again. And here's why, because the world is evolving rapidly. And in the rapid expansion that's happening and the evolution that's happening in the world right now, it's very important for us to actually know what's happening all over the planet. And people are actually really consumed by everything that's happening right now with new technology, social media, so on and so forth. And today we got a chance to really just tie that in for you and actually share and show you how and why we're also excited about this opportunity with ASCIRA. So without any further ado, what I want to do is just kind of set a little bit of the context before we jump into the content of it. And no one better than, you know, Dr. Travis Fox, dear friend and business partner now, as we're building some pretty exciting things together. But most importantly, he is a character just like myself. We love to have fun, love helping people. Has 100% of the information. He's down to earth. But Travis, if you don't know, Travis has been an amazing actor, still is. He's a producer, a director, and an author. You know, one of the individuals in the world that can help you architect your life the way you want to be. So how do you create the life by design you want? It's with the #1 architect in the world, none other, ladies and gentlemen, than my dear friend, Mr. Travis Fox, who's going to share with you just an overview of what we're going to go through here today and why it's important for you to pay attention and why this is going to be the next best thing for you and your brand if you're a speaker, trainer, author, entrepreneur. Travis, are you there, my friend?
I am, Doc. How are you, brother?
If I was any better, I'll be just as cool as you, but I'm not sporting that hat today. I should get one though.
Well, you know, when you know, I'm doing my best to show my new hairstyle.
Love it.
Oh, man. Oh, wow, man, I'm excited. Thanks for everybody being here, and always, Robert. Thank you as always. You're fantastic. I love and get to spend time with Robert. Thank you for everyone who's here. Some of my staff is here. Obviously, some of Dr. O's staff is here. What we want to talk to you about is what the ASCIRA Academy is doing and how it's going to change the world, both on two fronts. One is, how do we present content in the world so that it moves from a educational space to a learning space? And I'll explain those two words shortly. And then secondly, as a content provider, brand builder, educational speaker, coach, mentor, or motivational speaker, how do we create something that is not just an eat what you kill basis, but as a royalitized scenario to grow your brand globally, to interact with an audience that in most cases you probably never would meet, the way the opportunity is going to present itself, but also to how to become one. One of the things that I've had a great opportunity to do, just like my esteemed colleague and partner, Dr. O, has done, is help build brands over years, not including my own personal brand with the architects, but also how do we build a brand as a speaker, coach, motivational, educational speaker? And I think that a lot of times we're so busy trying to be the masters of everything that we forget to be truly the master of our message. And part of what we help create here in the ASCIRA Academy is how to build your brand, how to grow it in a way that is manageable, scalable, but also too is consistent and alignable with you. Because a lot of times I find that when I help produce and direct someone, and matter of fact, as Dr. O knows, I just spent the weekend with two of our brand new content providers. My team and I actually flew to Colorado, and we spent the entire 3.5 days with two amazing souls who have gone through this process, who are master teachers, who are a part of this academy. And I have the great honor of producing and directing that. And it's my real vision is to see all of you in some form or another go through this process. And yes, there is a process which we'll explain, but to truly harness the power that you have as your brand, understand what a brand is, way beyond a message, grow that, and most importantly, create something that you can be proud of, that you can continue to grow revenue off of, and most importantly, grow your business in ways you've never thought possible. Oh,
I love it. And you know, Travis, what you said is exactly 100% on point. But here's one of the things as we go through this discussion here, I think we ought to make really clear as we go through. And I was just thinking about it as you're speaking. I'm like, man, all of this, and it's at zero cost to that speaker, author, leader, or entrepreneur that's looking to really brand themselves masterfully on a global scale. Right. So we're absorbing that cost. So it's amazing to see that, you know, this social lifestyle community that we have here with ASCIRA, for those of you to understand, we are basically the Netflix to the next level of education on the global platform. So we're building our company, our brand through subscription, and we're putting you on that platform so that your message goes out to the world. So let's dive in a little bit. Dr. T and I will go back and forth as you can see and learn here more about what we're doing. But in short, we're creating more of this conscious, connected world by teaching people how to actually become the greatest versions of themselves. I mean, this is what Travis does in his business. This is what I do in my business, but this is what ASCIRA is doing for everyone else, so we can take it to the world on a larger scale much faster. So our founder and CEO, John Satoris, the gentleman you see there looking into the future, and some of the examples of some of the greatest masters and mastresses for the young ladies that here are on our platform. You get a chance, if you actually Google their names, you won't be able to get access to the work that they're giving you access here to on our platform at the cost of this. So it's really exciting to see that. This is what people are saying about us all over our site. But let's jump into more of what happens when you start to dive behind the scene, and what happens when we start taking a look at how can you actually become one of our content providers and basically reach our global audience. So this, I want to pause for a second, because Travis, I don't think a lot of people understand what we're doing here is not only just branding them, but we're giving them access to the largest aggregated audience without advertising. And how important is that for a speaker, trainer, and entrepreneur when we're getting in touch with the right prime audience?
Key point. So let's talk about this from, I'm one of the unique members, and you'll find out shortly that I'm have the privilege with Dr. O, who is actually one of the brand ambassadors. I sit on the ASCIRA board for the advisory content for the ASCIRA Academy. So part of my job is to help craft the content providers, their message, to produce, direct, and to guide, along with my esteemed colleague at the board level, how do we build this company so that it benefits everybody? Now, how many of you out there, just raise your hands because I can see most of you on the screen. How many of you understand how to build your own funnel? Start with that one. Okay, besides you and I.O. All right, 3 or 4 of you. All right, great. All right, how about this? How many of you understand truly what your audience demographic is and how to target it for real? Okay. Cool. So back to O and I again. All right, that's cool. How many of you understand that to truly be a brand builder, you have to understand the camera, the production, the distribution, the aggregation of the audience, the retargeting of that audience, the sales funnel sequencing to grow the brand, the life of the customer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't, you're in the right place. And let me tell you why. That's what we're offering to do already for you. What we want to help you do in this call today is to truly understand being a content provider with the ASCIRA Academy is not doing a YouTube video with your iPhone. It is not jumping on Instagram and doing a go live from your backyard about what your cat is doing with your dog. It is about truly taking you to a global stage. We are currently in 62 countries and growing, if my memory is correct. Is that right? Oh, I mean,
that is correct, sir. You hit it on the nose.
Thank you. So we're at 62 countries and climbing rapidly. The online educational space has dynamically shifted. I don't think I need to go too deep into that world now because of COVID-19, but let's just say safely it's shifted into a place that it will never go back to. The days of doing live events are going to be limited until, let's say, 2022. Online events are becoming a new thing, and we now need to understand that content provider does not mean you throw up a video, we put it up there, and we hope to God it works. Wrong. This is actually structured. It's a set. There's multiple cameras. You have time sequences. We teach you and guide you how to do this, because if you want to move to a global stage and level up your brand, this has got to be that next step. So 1, it's reducing the expenses. 2, you get a professional grade place to send your traffic. 3, we're giving you our audience right up front. I was going to explain this in a deeper part as we come later, but I want to give you the macros. We're giving you our audience for instant immersion. In any of you who have been in this space longer than 30 seconds know to have an instant immersion on a global scale, automatically guilty by association with other great masters, teachers, coaches, educated motivational speakers, levels your game par excellence ad infinitum. You can't buy it. You don't have enough money to go through the process. That's the beautiful thing here. And most importantly, the life of engagement, which we're going to get into a little bit later, will allow you to go places with your brand you probably haven't thought of yet or haven't gotten yourself to go to yet. So what we're really talking about is not just being a content provider. It is about being a branded content messenger provider. You get those 4 sequences together, you're exactly what we're looking for, and we're going to guide you every step of the way, and we're going to be pushing you because that's what we're about. Oh?
Yeah, you know, Travis, I'm glad you said that, because here's the cool thing. When I first really understood what ASCIRA was offering, so I was sitting there thinking, because I know where my brand was going or where I wanted it to go, and the package that they were offering to brand and put my information on the platform and brand me globally, I started thinking like, okay, great. What's the price line? Because for a package like that, I know at a minimum, that's about 70 to 80 grand to package me up, to brand me out, and to put it there. And then they say, well, no, we'll also give you access to our audience, and it's no cost to you. Just shoot. I was like, listen, when can I shoot? They said, well, if you're prepared, we can just shoot you tomorrow. I said, I'm in. Before you change your mind, I'm in. And that's what I did. So if you're looking as a content provider here, ladies and gentlemen, you get to turn your knowledge into profits, which is what you're planning to do anyways. You're just as excited about your brand and your message, and we are too, and we want to be able to brand and market you. So you got a chance to grow your brand by building your brand and increasing your global reach in markets beyond what you normally do, in languages and time. So it's amazing. I'm excited about it for you because, you know, my work is already on a platform. You get a chance now to inspire the world, not just your local market, not just your state, not just your country, but on a global platform. And you get to join our community and influence those. So you look at some of, you know, the already established content providers in our platform that's established around the world, like Gary Vaca, the Y Guy, Cindy Wang, and Carlos. Listen, it's amazing the talent that we have here. I'm so blessed to be associated with so many other talented individuals like my dear friend and mentor, Mr. Travis Foxner himself. But, you know, we're going to have some fun. So let's jump into it. A lot of questions come up all the time. And, you know, like when it comes to, and I want some of you to understand this, you're not really putting together a specific course or work for ASCIRA. You're putting your work on the ASCIRA platform because we want to brand you. We want to brand your message. And it's basically putting together an application. So today tells you all about who we are, and Travis is going to talk a little bit later too about that application process, because once you're accepted, and it's not just, hey, you're a content provider, you submit and we accept you. You go through a process, and we look at a few of these things. So here are some of the FAQs, and I'm going to go through those with you. So you start by planning your course. First of all, once you're accepted, these are some of the things that you'll put on the application, knowing that our modules is anywhere from 10 to 20 modules, which is about 180 to 220 minutes of course work that's going to be on there. And what should you send in with your application to become a content provider? You'll send in the lessons, basically the lesson plan, the description of what's going to happen. In a sense, you're breaking down the story arc of what you're going to put on the platform. And then you're going to submit a digital audition. So Travis, why don't you tell them a little bit about that digital audition, the time it should take, and how their message can come across and what you're looking for, because you're on the board.
Yeah, glad to do it. And it's important when Dr. O says modules, family, I want to be really crystal clear. It's not a hard line in the sand in 20, but it can't be 2. So what we're talking about is a course story arc. So let's imagine that you were in class back when you were in university or high school or wherever your educational process comes from. It had an arc. So instead of just saying, hey, I just help people live a better life, that's such a nebulous comment that it doesn't make sense. So part of what we do in the application process is really help you narrow down your niche market, because what's going to separate in a positive way you as a brand identifier content provider is that you understand your niche market. And part of what we do is help you identify that. So in the application, we're going to ask you for what are your 20 topics in the story arc, and you don't have to give us a 400 line detail or write a book, but you do need to give that arc. But the biggest key is being on camera. Please, I beg of you. I watch videos every single day, and I turn them down every single day because people send in an edited version or a sizzle reel to show us what they do. And my best advice, family, please don't do that. Here's why. You're talking to someone who knows editing, okay? My entire team are Emmy award-winning editors. We know I can make a shaved dog look great who's walking backwards in an edited video, but that does not mean you're a qualified teacher or edutainer, educational and entertainment combined, which is really what's going to make this snap for you and take you to that next step. And if you don't know how to do that, well, there's ways that Dr. O and I can help you do that, and so can ASCIRA, to teach you how to become a better branded speaker. But when you send it, give me a 3-minute video of you telling me who you are, what you talk about, the benefits that people are going to get by experiencing this experience of you on the academy, how you intend to teach it, most importantly, meaning that you want to do it, standing up, sitting down, you want to do it on location, in the studio, what's the best way to deliver the content, and what the passion of you doing this is about, because how you arrived there. Number one thing that I've seen lately, and I say this with one of Dr. No talking about this all the time, is people send in the story. Hey, back when I was 16 and da-da-da, stop. Don't care. What I need to understand is, what is the audience going to get from you? The story is this much. What you're going to do for them, with them, by guiding them, that's the key. So when you send that video in, remember, you're talking to us as the board to help you do the brand, but most importantly, how do we position you? And if you don't know the benefits of your experience, it's going to take us a lot more work, where there's other people that have gone through that, and we might say, hey, maybe this is the best way to develop this. So start thinking about that when it comes in. And then when you get to that process, 3 minutes or less, because if you can't say it in 3 minutes or less, there's a high degree of probability your audience will go, I have no idea what the heck they just said. Oh,
I love that. And you're absolutely right. And, it's important that you really understand that. So we're really diving into that for you, everyone today. One of the greatest questions we ask too is, how long does it take to approve, to get approval? And because as Travis said, he's looking at so many videos every single day, it takes about 30 days for us to go through. And it's not just 30 days to just look at yours and approve it. It's a 30-day process, going through meticulously, looking at your social media, because those will be all the things that you'll submit with us. And who will be looking at your application? Well, you already see Mr. Travis Fox. So let's go through here and give you a little bit about him. I'm going to make him blush for a second, so you can hide your face now if you don't want him to
turn that video off now.
If you don't want them to see the red as you blush, as it states here, Travis is a producer and Emmy Award-winning actor as well. So you have Mr. Curtis Randall, one of our executive creative directors, and Dave Doyle, the TEDx Talk producer. So you just look at these three gentlemen and know that you cannot, well, maybe you can, depending on your pocket, pay them to do what they're doing for you outside of ASCIRA without really dropping close to a multiple six-figure to get it done. I know this because that is the quality of who they are, and that's the quality of work that they're doing to produce, to put you on our platform. So let's jump in a little bit to see what happens. Once you go through that process and you're accepted, now that we have Travis stop blushing, it's all good. But what happens once you're accepted and you've been shot, and I don't mean with a gun, in the studio, and I got some surprises for you all here today, by the way. But here's what happens. Your course gets put up on the platform. We have everything under the sun except for sex, religion, and politics. We don't want, those are the topics that divide us, but you have everything from the blockchain, you name it, mastering sales, empowered leadership. That's our COO, Miss Belinda Lee. That's what her course is on. It's amazing. Sue Demas, I was actually going through a lot of her stuff this week. What a powerful, powerful heart and wonderful instructor and facilitator she is as a trendsetter. I love it. And then there's my course. There's so many other courses on the platform once you've been accepted. And then our host with the most, Mr. Raymond Riopel, AKA the Authority Key. So I'm going to give you guys a surprise. I'm going to ask Robert what his process was like, because he was on it today. And I'm going to bring him up in a little bit. Not right now, but he went through the process just like us. Another one of my really good friends, Mr. Darren Kidd, on the Ultimate Guide to Network Marketing, Gary Vaca, White Power, and our founder and CEO, John Chatora. So there's so much in different languages, in different culture. Hip hop dancing from an amazing hip hop dancer out of Taiwan. Just look at what is on our platform. And if you see yourself here, all you have to do is go through the process, get accepted, get into our academy. Miss Carrie Weber Young, just amazing, talking about your inner superpower. She has a phenomenal course that just takes kids to the next level. We need that in today's society, to have kids learning their superpower at a very early age, instead of going through, this tumultuous life and figuring it out the hard way. So it's amazing. So let me talk a little bit about Mr. Raymond Riopel, my dear friend who introduced us here earlier today, right? So he is known from his successes around the world for the guy talking. He actually wrote the book, Success Left a Clue, right? He's always dropping clues everywhere, but his course, The Authority Key, is on our platform. So Robert's been accepted, and as you can see, all the things that he submitted, his course actually breaks down. This is the reason why you need to submit your courses and the modules and a description of them, because it displays the way like this in our community. So what happens is Robert's course is in there now. It's amazing. Robert's having fun branding himself globally. But what happens if someone wants to really reach out and connect to Robert? You can see here, because part of the package, your submission package, you'll submit your social media platform connects and so that we can tie you into our community, your website, so on and so forth. But I'm going to ask Robert to jump on for a second, because Robert, you know, tell us a little bit about what your experience was like going through doing this and now actually being completed and being on the platform.
And can you hear me all right there, Dr. O?
Yes, sir, I sure can.
Excellent. You know, for me, it was quite eye-opening, because for 18 years, I've been blessed to travel around the world, impacting lives, changing lives in person, having fun, and really seeing the results. So all of a sudden, to go from being accepted to then traveling and doing the shoot to now, instead of being in front of hundreds and thousands of people, I'm in front of a camera and being able to take my information. And I'm glad that you and Travis are talking about, it's not just about the information, it's about how you get it across to the camera, because it was a quick learning experience to adjust to be able to really get the same kind of energy across that I would in front of a live audience. So not only did I have fun, but I learned a ton, and it got me even more excited for what we're going to be able to do for people to help them get out around the world. Finding those diamonds in the rough. I was having a conversation yesterday with someone who talked about he was hosting an event, and all of a sudden, last speaker of the night, event running long for Tony Robbins, and a guy had 30 minutes to come on stage. And the person he introduced was a gentleman by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. And it was his first exposure, and he blew people away because he was a diamond in the rough. I can't wait to see for ASCIRA how many of those we're going to be able to uncover. That's what gets me excited.
I love it. Thank you, Robert. And, you know, even you said it, we know that you're not a diamond in the rough. You've been in the rough. You're just shining bright like a diamond. And I love it. So thank you so much. Appreciate you and your share, because, you know, I wanted to share with some of you, not only just the presentation and the slides here, but someone who's actually been through the process and gotten in as well. So it's exciting that, you know, this is Robert. Robert's a good friend and a mentor. So let's dive a little bit into the community. Now that Robert's work's on there, what happens? Robert gets a chance to go through our community. This is what the community looks like. One of the other things that's tied into our social lifestyle community is our own social media platform built in. As you can see, it's very similar to Facebook or the Book of Faces. And this is kind of an example I'm showing you of Super B, AKA Miss Belinda Lee, one of my very dear friends. You look here on her profile, you can look and see her on the right-hand side where it says the best, learn now, something else in Chinese, Cantonese, and then legendary success. This is what's actually reading out on the right-hand side, just like you have the Facebook scroll that tells you about advertising. This is really sharing what were all the new courses that are coming out that week. So you can actually click and share and see. For some of you who are asking, well, how does the community get to know about my work? It's going to alert our community. And obviously, if she clicked and shared on it, you can look on the left-hand side. It shows you the courses that she dug into. So as we continue to go through, you'll see just like regular social media, she's posting and sharing and tagging and liking and having mentions with other friends and interacting. But here's what's important. In here, she can tag and share. You see on the left-hand side, she can tag and share about the master sales course she's doing within our community, and other folks can see, and she can mention what she liked about that course if that was your course, to have other folks in her sphere start to look, tag, plug in, or subscribe to your course. But this is what her dashboard actually looks like. This is what everyone's dashboard would look like. As an example, it shows you she currently was subscribed to 18 courses, 52 hours that was viewed. She's in Dubai. It shows you how to connect and contact with Super B, her posts and achievements. And then at the bottom here, which makes everything so much significant today is the gamification process of doing anything, especially when it has to tie in with business or social media. So the process is gamified to interact more, that your brand is getting out deeper into our platform. So here's a little deeper look at it, what it looks like behind for each of our members in our community. It shows a percentage of how much they're engaged. My course, she was already engaged up to 20%, and here in Steve's course, 40%, so on and so forth. You can see the percentage of how much she's actually engaged or involved in looking at the time, people she's following or followers who's following her that can actually tie into it. This is one of my favorite spaces on the platform. It's the notebook section. You can, each person in our community get to take special notes they can put in useful links, AKA your websites or social media, to build into their own profile so they can go back quick to get to it, building their own library resources and doing their own case study with you or others just like yourself. Now, I want to take a deeper dive with another good friend of mine, Mr. Darren Kidd, his course on the Ultimate Guide to Network Marketing. So we saw Robert's course, but what happens when someone actually dives into the course? You get a chance to see here as she's going through a bit of Darren's course, the different modules as they're going through, which is listed down. Again, why it's important to list those modules and going how much she's actually viewed and see here with Darren's course, the different modules, keeping track of it. But here's what's really exciting. You get to see over here where it says the three different ways. You got the path, learners, and discuss. And the path is basically just the different modules as it goes down all the way from 1 to the end. Learners shows you that, well, she was the only one enrolled in this course here at the time, but imagine when there's now hundreds and thousands like we have, because this was done in the beginning, but the other learners that are there, where she can actually engage with those learners and start a discussion. She can start a poll. She can break the silence, put up an image in there, tag Darren, because you'll have a chance to be tagged and be on our platform where you yourself can interact with our clients as a content provider. So how important is that? It's extremely important, because the next thing that happens is folks starts to ask, how do we get in touch with you? Well, it's very simple, because Darren's information is provided there. Let's say someone wanted to reach out to Darren and build more of a personal relationship, or buy one of Darren's other courses or connect with Darren personally, then they can do so clicking on his Facebook tab and connect with Darren directly. I'm going to pause here for a second, because no one else is doing this. No one else is actually really going to do this to give you that much access to, in a sense, their database anyways, because most companies are operating from fear. We're not operating from fear. We're not fear-based. It's all abundance here. So to understand how important that is, let me bring Dr. Fox back on to tell us a little bit about the importance of that, and really the importance of having your story arc, your message on our platform, and why ASCIRA, pretty much why now. Travis?
Well, let's agree. Thank you, Dr. O. Let's agree that what we all did as content providers, teachers, coaches, educators, motivational speakers has changed indefinitely forever. An example, I'll speak from my own personal journey. I had a summer tour booked of speaking engagements. They've all been gone, and there's been no rescheduling. So live events is going to change forever. Second thing that's also happened simultaneously, which we touched on earlier, is that education is now turning to learning. We've gone through education. All of us have in some form or another, but now it's about learning, and people want to learn what they need to learn. They need to learn it from great master teachers like yourselves, but they also need to learn it in a way that makes sense. The age-old thing of, hey, I'm gonna throw up a website, or I'm gonna throw up my YouTube channel and just slap a video together, gone, right? And I'm not saying we're going back to the television days of, where I mostly spent most of my time growing up, and maybe perhaps you did as well, but we are talking about how we modulatize, how we professionally arc the story so that you're taking these people on the journey. And if I can use, the famous Joseph Campbell that we all know, the hero's journey, where are you taking them? What is each module going to do? What is the arc? And truly turn yourself into not just someone who is passing out a video or going through a course, I'm going to empower you, but you're truly going to create a wealth set of skills that they can absorb and learn from you. And as Dr. O said, now they're going to engage with you. Family, if any of you know anything about building a brand, engagement is the lifeblood of your brand. We are going to hand you a global audience, not because we're nice people, not because we're philanthropic, but because we understand the capitalization of the game, working against each other, has been a model that doesn't work. And when John came to us, like myself, Dr. O, and several of the Academy members, and of course the brand ambassador said, I want to change the entire model, we all said the same thing. It has to be us working together. Now think about this from a second, family. It's not just the people that are already inside the ASCIRA world, it's the world. So for example, my audience gets to learn from Dr. O. Dr. O's audience gets to learn from mine. We both get to learn from Robert. But it doesn't take money out of our pocket. It's not a scarcity model. It's not, gee, I've got to get mine before you get yours. It is about truly wanting each of us to be developed, story arced, promoted, and then cross-referenced, because we're doing this in a way that's never been done before. Now, I come from a film and television background. I'm also a teacher, educator, trainer. As Dr. O said, he's a real doctor. I just play one on TV. You know, I no longer really go by that. He's a lot smarter than I am, but I got the looks in the family, so everything's an offset between the two of us. Mom still thinks I'm the pretty one there. Sorry,
I would
brother.
trade all that for the looks, Travis.
And so what we get now is, what it'd be like if everyone on this call, each of you has an audience. So let's play a hypothetical game, right? Each one of you has an audience of, say, 100,000. I don't know that that's true, but let's say that you do. Okay, you have 100,000. Now do the call. There's 53 of us on here times that. That's a lot of freaking people. You don't have the time, the effort, the superfluous capital to go out and reach that audience. You don't have time to make all the joint venture deals, to create the new funnels, to create the production, to go through the process, the analytical, the ad spend. It's laborious. It's time we started working together. So when ASCIRA came together and said, well, wait a minute, why don't we get the best content providers in the world, change the model for the content provider? Because many of you, how many of you agree with me? Some of you have your pictures on, but all right, let's just go for that. For those of you who are actively screened, how many of you understand that being in our business up until this point has been an eat what you kill model? You can only be on one stage at a time. You can only create one funnel, and you've got to try to optimize that. You've got to constantly create a new course, publish a new book, get into podcasting, get on television, get in film, yada, yada, yada. There's not enough hours in the day. And here's the problem. It still limits what you can do. And unless you know how to break through every one of those ceilings, most don't. 80, 90% of the world will never break through that ceiling, but you can now. Here's why. By doing a capture from a professionally done grade, meaning that it's done right from the beginnings, where you just get to focus on being the talent, the teacher, the educator, the trainer that you are. We modulatize it. You get to be able to work and be able to pay a place to drive your traffic. Now when people say, hey, you know what? I got a real question for you. So, hey, Connie, where do I find, Connie's teachings? Hey, it's funny you should mention that. Go to the ASCIRA Academy. When they go there, guess what? Everyone else is driving their traffic there too, because we're all working together. And I mean that on both sides of the fence. So it changes the model. And then two, you have a professionally grade shot experience. Now I can speak for my production company, and I'll speak for mine only. This is not Dr. O's. This is not ASCIRA. This is just Travis Fox talking on behalf. My good buddy Nathan's on the call. He's in the business as well. He's a very dear friend of mine. We've shot and captured work together. He's a fantastic DP. Jamie's on this call, who's been DP with me, a director of photography for 10 years. If you engage my company to come film you for 20 modules, the retainer starts at $25,000. That's not a joke. It's not a number I made up. If you contact me right now and say, Travis, I want you to film me, you better have a $25,000 check. Otherwise, I'm not going to put you in the slot, because it takes time. Do the math in your head, family. If you're going to do 180 to 225 minutes, the capture time alone averages 4 to 6 hours. I know I just did 2 this weekend myself with my team and my crew. For ASCIRA, I might add. So it takes time. And the amount of capital that takes alone, the editing that it takes, our editing crew does it all for you. If you've ever edited anything, editing is a nightmare unless you're really, really good at it. And you better have a passion that is from here to Christmas, boys and girls, or you are going to want to punch your computer screen, because you won't want to ever see your face again as you go through the editing process, because you're sick of hearing your own stuff, right? I know my good friends and I, we edited the Fab Four, which is still running to this day. It's got over 14,000 hours on television, still running this day. It was 30 days of editing. If I hear the Beatles one more time, I literally go, I clinch, and I'm right back in the editing bay. I'm like, ah, and it's not because it was bad. It's because you've got 8 cameras moving and you're moving through this process. And so what you're not understanding, and I think a lot of people, what O and I really wanted to do this call was about, was to educate. A content provider doesn't mean grab your iPhone and film something and throw it up there. Okay, if that worked for you, you wouldn't be on this call. If you thought you were a content provider, you wouldn't be on this call. If you thought it was that easy, you wouldn't be on this call. You have already made your millions and you had your audience and your tribe and all that. And maybe you do to a smaller degree, but we all know you're on this call because you have two things. You have a burning passion, desire to reach a global audience because you're a teacher, trainer, educator, and a motivational speaker that needs to go to that next level. And we need help to do it. And two, you may not know how to do it. So stay in your lane and let us help you do it. And by working together cooperatively, we all get to pull this audience. And now all of a sudden we go from have 100,000 audience potential now to beyond 1 billion. And it's not a made up number. It's a real number. Imagine having just 1% of 1 billion people paying attention to what you're doing. Your dreams are made. You will have more opportunities coming out of your ears, and it will be bigger than you ever thought possible. And the only way that happens was the global shift. Now that happened with C19. That was done for us by Great Spirit, however you define Great Spirit. The second one was done by ASCIRA when we said, enough. We're going to stop competing. Dr. O and I are on the same track. We have a very similar training. He's smarter than me, but we said, you know what? How about this? Why don't we work together? You know what? There's certain things I love to teach and I love to do. There's certain things I don't. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. And so there's a great way to go, you know what? Better yet, why don't you go watch his training? Or better yet, go watch Robert's training. Or go watch, Rob Handwriter's training. Go watch their training because I'm not scared now to send them. I'm not losing a customer. Heck, better yet, I'm gaining a referral that says, hey, thanks for sending me over there, because now in the academy, they're watching Dr. O's stuff or Robert's stuff or Rob's stuff or Connie's stuff, and we're all working together, and then they're going to send one back to me. Now we're not gone from scarcity. We have truly moved, family, into what every one of us has said in some form or another, a la Post the Secret some 16 years ago. We are in abundance wealth phase. Okay, can we stop talking about it and just be it? Because now we have a chance to be it. And the question is, are you going to continue to make the same decisions of the past or make a new choice and really become the true content provider and get out of your own freaking way and let us help you do it? Oh,
you know, Travis, if I could have said it better, I would have said it, but you did it. You on this one, you were the hammer. You hit all the nails. They went in with one shot, and I love it. But, you know, there's so much truth to what you're saying. There's so much truth to that. And I think one of the biggest things, the last 33 minutes of having everyone else on here, the greatest point I think you made was being able to have a content provider understand these three simple things. Number one, access to, even if it's just the influence of 1% of 1 billion, which is what our audience is becoming, that you don't have to pay for that marketing, diving deep, or you don't also have to pay once you're accepted to be branded and marketed on our platform. So that's the information we wanted to share with you today. However you made it on here, connect back to the person that invited you if you're interested in becoming a content provider, because your information will be reviewed, and if you're accepted, it will be fun. So what I want to do is, you know, kind of get myself out of the way a little bit, turn it over to Robert, who's going to tell a little bit. There's an opportunity to this, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. But today we just really wanted to share with you what it takes to become a content provider if you're pretty much already in that space, and how we can help you do it. So before I turn it over to Robert, Dr. Fox, is there anything you want to say last minute before we jump into a quick Q&A with folks and close out for the day?
I think I'd like everybody, if it's possible, to turn your video on. I think it's important, right? Too many times we get on these calls and we just put our post up and we just listen. I don't want to listen. I want to see your face, right? Because it helps me engage with you, because there's a high degree of probability. Like, look at Robert's big smile and grin. You cannot, there's a value in me looking at that face going, hey brother, how are you? There's a value in that. And if you're not willing to turn your camera on here, then that tells me already there's some things that I'm going to have to work through as a director producer to evoke that from you. Here I get a chance to engage with you. For example, if I have the opportunity, the honor, and you have the opportunity to work with me as your producer director, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to push you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable in a positive way to leave it all on the stage. Too many times we're too busy caught up in the image. Those days are over, family. If you want to win an Emmy or an Oscar like I did, this is not the place you want to be. I'm looking for people who are willing to be vulnerable as a strength, who are willing to teach their niche market. unabashedly, unashamedly, leave it on the frickin' stage as though you were going to die tomorrow. Why? Because your message, your journey cannot be replaced. It cannot be retold. It is not a lack mentality. It is balls to the walls, excuse my French, but pushing you to a place your brand has never been. If you are unwilling to look at that, I get it. There's ways that we can help you do that, and maybe you're not ready. But if you're ready, these are some of the requirements that's necessary, and they're going to be scary. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be exciting. But here's the one thing that is going to happen. Your life's going to change. The question is, are you ready for that change, or are you just waiting for it to happen to you? Robert, take it away, brother.
Oh man, you know, I could listen to the two of you over and over and over again, because look at that. The pressure you just put on Travis, that's the diamond. That's where the coal becomes a diamond, is because if people are going to be easy, and the importance is the world is waiting. You know, one of the courses I teach, I don't say this to put pressure on people, but to help them understand how important they are. When you take your piece of the puzzle, every single one of us is a piece of the puzzle to the world. And when you finally put yours in place, you subconsciously automatically give 1,000 more people permission to put theirs in place. That's how important people are. And so I'm glad you said a couple key things. You know, I've worked with Dr. Obom before, and I'm just getting to know you, and I'm loving this interaction already, is we've been telling people, keep your audition videos simple. And I am so thankful that you said exactly that. Quit trying to overproduce. And I love the analogy. With great editing, you can make a dog working backwards look amazing. However you said that. And it's true. We want to see you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the call for the first time, as they've said, get back to the person that invited you, that thought of you enough to say, be on this call. Tomorrow, we're going to have at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have a live presentation of what ASCIRA, the company, is about. Not the content providing side, but the company itself. So we're going to encourage you to be on that call as well. Dr. O, I believe you said you wanted to take a couple Q&As for either yourself or Dr. Travis Fox. And you wanted to say something first?
I do. I have to say this, Doc and Robert. The gentleman that I had the honor to capture this weekend just jumped on this call. That's Mr. Aaron Huey. I did not know Aaron before he came into the academy. I did not work with him prior. I got to spend a day with him and what he does. And I will tell you point blank, and I don't say this often because I've seen thousands of speakers. I was moved to tears in the capture process. My entire team and crew was touched. The passion, the on point, and the change that this man makes in kids and parents' lives is the type of quality I demand from this academy, and I demand from all of you, and I demand for myself, because I'm also a content provider as well. I just haven't had time to film myself because I'm too busy filming all the great ones of you. But he jumped on this call, and I can tell you point blank, the relationship that has been developed, the love and respect I have for this man, for spending 6 hours behind a camera, watching him teach, and I mean teach, unreal. And this was not planned, by the way, when we agreed to do this call. I didn't know Mr. Huey was going to be here. I just left him in Colorado a couple of days ago. But the work that he is doing is profound. So this isn't about, hey, just thinking it falls out of the sky because doggone it, you're a law of attraction expert. No, I'm talking about mastership. Mastership. I don't want well-rounded people. If you're a well-rounded person, develop your brand. Come back, Dr. O and I and Robert and Aaron and all the other people will help you do it. I want people who are laser focused. Aaron Huey is a perfect example and has truly raised the bar. We did sizzle reel, we did interview, we did 6 hours of filming. It's a grind. This is not about, hey, I'm just going to go to YouTube and have a great time. This is about really taking your brand to the next level. And for me, every person I get to capture and help produce, like a Mr. Huey, I become indelibly attached to. I become a part of that community. I'm like, hey, who can I drive to Aaron's brand? Because you know what? He teaches something I don't teach. And now I can look around the room and go, okay, you know what? I don't have to teach that. I don't have to be well-rounded. I don't want to be well-rounded. Go talk to Robert. Go talk to Dr. O. Go talk to Miriam. Go talk to Martin. Go do this, because now it becomes a team effort. And you're going, well, Travis, that model doesn't make sense. There's so many on this call. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 51 people on this call. I don't know about you. I am not the best at math, but I can do this. There's 7.4 billion people. That's with a B, billion people on the planet. There's 51. If one of you had 1 million people, you haven't made a freaking dent. You haven't even scratched the dent in the dent surface yet. Stop worrying about the audience being saturated and start worrying about bringing your guts, bring your heart, bring your passion, and leave it on the table. And if you don't know how to do that, reach out to myself or O, or you call that man on this call right now, Mr. Huey, and you learn how it's done, because I'm telling you, it will change people's lives starting with your own. Go ahead.
And you know what? That was my other surprise for you. Aaron jumped on. So I had Aaron, because you guys just finished shooting this weekend, wanted to have Aaron jump on and share what that whole process was like for him. Aaron, when you submitted, you got accepted, and then you actually literally hours ago came out of the studio. So ladies and gentlemen, none other than our great friend and mentor, Mr. Aaron Huey. Aaron, if you don't mind, please share your story with us and what it was like going through and getting accepted and finishing this weekend.
Thank you guys so much. First of all, can everybody hear me okay? Am I coming through all right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Hey, thank you so much. What a Travis, man. I think we're going to be best friends from now on, because nobody's ever been that nice to me. Do you hear me, honey? Nobody's ever been that nice to me. No, listen, I'll tell you, I had a lot of things going on about Bigfoot. I've been thinking a lot about Bigfoot lately. I want to believe in Bigfoot. I have talked to people year after year, times after times on the internet, person to person, about Bigfoot. I have wanted to lecture about Bigfoot on the big stage. But when Travis and his crew showed up, when they were there, they said they would be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. They were there at 6:45 in the morning. I was over there. They were already setting up, drinking my coffee, and it was so professional. This was the single best quality, and I'm not talking about my presentation. I'm not talking about my content. I've been teaching that content for 20 years. When I turned around and I saw 6K definition, when I saw the level of quality that Travis and his team had brought, I just thought to myself, Bigfoot's real. It's like this thing that I have been hoping for all this time, that ASCIRA is going to turn out to be, knowing that I'm going to be a part of something that quality, that level of professionalism. Travis and his team was amazing. I walked away going, now I have a product that stands over everything. I probably have 5,000 hours worth of filmed video in the last 10 years. It is the single best quality video I have seen, and the way he directed, the smoothness, the assistance, the way they had everything just so dialed. I mean, I don't know what to say other than Bigfoot's real. ASCIRA's real. This thing that we're doing, this desire to solve a problem, this desire to make a wonderful living doing it, getting out there on a global scale to 1 billion people is one thing. And man, if you can achieve that without ASCIRA, by all means, good luck, and please teach a seminar, because I'll come. But that quality, knowing that I'm going to be appearing to the world at that level of quality, I'm blown away. And I have spent my week since not only teaching the teens in the facility, but every content provider that is under me, because that is on my downline, it's only content providers. That's who I've gone after. People who can provide content. I've hit everyone up and said, holy crap, you guys, this is real, this is good, and we're a part of something huge. So Travis, man, I love you. I'm so glad to be on your team. You ever need me for a project, you have nothing but to sneeze my direction and I will come running. It was phenomenal. I'm so damned excited.
Thank you, Matt. Again, I don't know who's the bigger fan, and ladies and gentlemen, this was not planned. Dr. O, I owe you one for setting this up, and you snuck one in on me. So
love you, brother.
Turn him out as fair play, brother. But Mr. Huey is, I'm going to go personal for a minute, and I will not apologize for being emotional. I've learned in my 50 years that I don't care. I cry every day. I sat and watched this man take us on a journey. I'm a 3-time parent. I'm a grandfather. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm a GILF, but that's true. I actually am a grandfather. Self-imposed GILF, I guess. I watched what he does with at-risk kids. LBGT community kids, kids that have been drug problems, kids that have been abandoned, kids who have been pushed to the system. I'm an adopted kid. I'm a special needs parent myself. I learned more about how to parent my kid. I have 2 PhDs and I'm dumb as a brick when it came to what Mr. Aaron Huey taught me. Me and my entire staff were dumbfounded. It's hard to dumbfound me, family. I have seen thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of audition tapes. My ex-wife is a casting director. I've grown up seeing all kinds of talents around the world. The type of talent that ASCIRA is getting is not this woo-woo, rah-rah-ism crap. It is real teachers, real educators who put their heart and soul on the line every single freaking day. Mr. Huey taught me more, and I love what you're saying, sir, and I'm so grateful for the compliments, although I will throw them back in your lap. I learned more in the day that I spent with him shooting about what it means to be a professional teacher, what it means to be on camera, to be prepared, to be willing to risk it. He risks, there are several of his modules that he risks it. He takes us down the road as parents and challenges us in a powerful way. And I sat there in the director's booth in tears, myself crying as a parent going, holy crap, I didn't realize I had done that. And both Doctor and I both have PhDs, just means post-hole digger in my case, because I was dumb. And this guy has been doing, he doesn't have a PhD. He doesn't have it. And I went, I'm the most uneducated, educated man I know. But that's the type of quality. So for me, the passion is I get to take every one of you, if you're willing to tell your story, to teach from the bottom of your guts and go there, I get to learn too. My staff gets to learn. The architects get to learn. The ASCIRA gets to learn. And now, unabashedly, unashamedly, I call that man my friend, my mentor, my brother. If I have a problem, and he needs me, I'm there, because that's the type of family we're creating. If Dr. O needs, I'm there. Robert calls, I'm there. Connie calls, I'm there. And it's not an effort. How many times in the past, people, have you been trying to put your brand out there and it's a bloody effort? You're negotiating, you're working through it, and well, what's the percentage cut, and who's going to have name rights over billing titles and blah. Shut up. How about this? You know what? Dr. O is one of the best teachers I've ever met. Aaron Huey is going to teach you how to reach your kid and take responsibility as a parent in a whole new way that I didn't even know as a parent. And hey, guess what? Rob's gonna take yoga to a whole nother level. Connie's gonna teach you what women's empowerment really means to a whole nother level. These are great teachers that are already a part of this. My small role, I get to hang out with Dr. O and go, hey, what if we got credit to make this thing bigger? What if we went from 62 countries to 130 countries? What if we did that? Okay, great, how do we do that? Let's reach the messengers of the world. How many of you agree with me that right now, the world is desperate for authenticity? No more BS. We hear it every day in media. I don't care what country you're in. We don't know what to believe anymore. All we know is what we've got our guts, and we're looking for people who have the courage and the compassion to walk the line. Ladies and gentlemen, don't take my word for it. Do not take my esteemed colleague Robert or my esteemed colleague Dr. Obom's word for it. You pick up the phone. I double dog, triple dog dare you. You call Mr. Aaron Huey. You talk to that man. If he doesn't change your life in an hour, you weren't listening. That is one example of the great teachers that are coming out of this academy. For my small part, I get to direct and produce all of you and push you to the limit so that you'll leave it on the stage. That man changed my life. And I can tell you point blank, he'll change yours. That's one. Who's next? Dr. O?
Well, I'll tell you who's next, Travis, because I have another surprise for you and everyone else. So on hiding in the background like a ninja is our dear friend, Mr. TEDx himself, Mr. Dave Doyle. So
Dave, what's up, buddy? I don't even see you here, bro. What are you doing?
So Dave, if you can share before we close out here today, Dave, just, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, from your end, what you do, what you're looking for, and why now, why ASCIRA for so many others.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we can.
All right. Well, this was a big surprise for me because I had no idea you were going to call on me at all. I just thought I was just happy sitting here in the background.
Surprises all around.
Fired up even more with all these compliments going back and forth and all these new lifelong friends and everything going on. So, man, I'm jacked right now. I'm completely jacked up. Travis, wow. Travis and I have had a lot of conversations in the last few months together on the content review board. And I don't think I've ever heard him quite like he is right now in this moment. So Aaron, kudos to you, and Dr. O and Travis for what you guys are doing. So yeah, you know what? I was introduced to this back in December, okay? Long before anything was even coming. And all I needed to know, the only thing that got me intrigued at the very beginning was the handful of people that I knew were actually involved in bringing this company to life. Because I had either known them personally or I knew of them, and they were all quality, amazing people that I wanted to work with again or wanted to work with for the first time. And that's all I needed. And I didn't even know what the concept was. Then they told me the concept and what the product was going to be. Guys, that was it. I dropped everything because I know what education needs. We all know what is going on with education right now. We all know everybody on this screen is a lifelong learner and teacher. We all know that everybody is a teacher. We're all open to learning from all these different people, even though we're teachers ourselves. And the fact that this was truly the product, because, and I'm going to clarify and qualify it by saying this, I know there's a lot of companies out there that have a facade or a curtain saying that the product is education, when really education is just a mask for what really they want to be doing. And it's usually network marketing based, and they're just kind of using education as the front for really what they're trying to sell. And when these guys told me, no, education is the product, we want to build people from the bottom up and take masters and experts and give them even more and pour into them as much as we're asking of them, if not more, and give them the value back as well and give them a new audience and opportunities to brand and everything else. Guys, it was just a no-brainer for me right from the beginning. So doing TEDx for the last 2.5 years and being a speaker myself and doing all the stage work and everything else, this platform is a no-brainer. It's just, you know, and again, I'm caught on the spot here, so I feel like I'm talking in circles. But,
no, you're good, brother. You're good.
TEDx speaker, that's awesome. I love it.
and as Travis was saying throughout the presentation, guys, like, you know, we want the best of the best, and that doesn't mean we're looking for, you know, the A-listers that are current. We're looking to bring up the B's and the C's and make us all into the A-listers, right? Because all of us are up and coming one way or the other. And we want the opportunity to help everybody to level up and level up and level up. And even though some, like, we can't approve everybody, we just can't. And even though there's going to be, you know, some people that we're going to have to deny on their first time, apply again, apply again, apply again. I didn't get accepted the first time I applied for TEDx either as a speaker, right? We have to keep applying, and we have to level up in between applications and hone our skills and become better. And as Travis said, Travis had a lot of nuggets in there. Get your branding down, get your message down, get your guts going, understand what your niche is and what your message is. And if we're all doing that, we're all going to be leveling up, and we all have the opportunity to become better and be our best and potentially become a content provider on ASCIRA.
Awesome.
So thanks for the surprise, Dr. O.
Absolutely. I love you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing that.